One. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fight fans around the world. It's your boy P. Welsh with another UFC picks, previews, and predictions. We got UFC 308 from Abu Dhabi. Set your alarms and get up early, boys. We got Topuria versus Holloway for the featherweight championship of the world. Let's go, bro. I spelled his name wrong. Topuria. Off a 7-3 week, we called the Hadley fight a no contest. Lost Despan Sage, Skyler, the Matrix Phillips in the main event. Fluffy was a beast. Hernandez 7-3, looking to build off of it this week. Starting off in the light heavyweight division, we have Abo Aslan 13-1 versus Rafael Kurkureya. I do my worst. 11-0, fighting out of Brazil. The Lions. Coming into you, I think he's a heavyweight fighting at light heavyweight. And I mean, this is pretty much a pick a matchup here, 50-50 right now. I think Correa has got an advantage a little bit. I think has more, I don't know, man. I think he's been in more tougher fights for longer than Aslan. He's just finished basically everybody in the first round, I believe. Other than that, I think Rafael really has a chance. He's been in more high-level fights, 11 first-round finishes. I think that's going to really make a difference. Now, if this fight could also last 90 seconds when these big boys get in there. If the timing isn't right for one of them and the other guy is faster, stronger, and just gets there, does the damage, and puts the lights out, GG's. I've seen it a bunch of times. We saw the Zhang Ribeiro fight earlier this year. Pretty much anytime Aspinall fights, you see he gets in there early, does the damage, and it's just over. So, but I think Carrera might have that timing, might have a game plan a little bit more solidified. He's fought in some big time promotional cards in the regions that he's fought. I think Aslan's it's gonna be a great matchup, man. I think it's very 50-50. I mean, for me to really even say one way or the other, I'm kind of hedging on a little bit more of experience, a little bit more pure octagon time. And Aslan does have that one UFC fight against the Pleasure Man, knocked him out in the third round. And, I mean, he was beating him up pretty good. I mean, Anton's not very strong at all, so that could definitely do a fight. But, I mean, it might not even last that long. I think this has a second-round finish all over it. I think they'll go to the corner. Somebody will get adjusted. Somebody could be on the ground, get up when the bell rings, and get finished right on that second round early mark. I like Correa there over Aslan, but I mean, definitely high pick 'em, toss up on the books. Should be an exciting way to start off the fight. Hopefully we see some fireworks. Bang! Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off early and strong here in the welterweight division, we got Rinat Fakhardinov versus Carlos. Guess his nickname, the Lion Leal. 34-9-2 in all the promotions, 21-5 in mixed martial arts, it says. 30 years old, standing 5'11". He's got a 72-inch reach, Thai, Brazil, PFL, Bellator experience. Very good. Lost in the playoffs a few times. And, I mean, I think you have to lean Fakhardinov here. I think he's very clean with his striking. He hasn't really brought the overzealous power numbers that you probably expected to see against some people. But Dalby's no slouch. He did. Zaleski was a tough fight. He finished Lee, but Brian Battle's a gangster. So we really haven't seen that signature knockout performance here. I don't know if it happens again, but I think Fakhardinov really is clean with the striking. He's very back and forth with what he's able to throw, kicks, punches, elbows. He's very creative against the cage in open. He moves quite a bit, and I think he'll present a lot of problems for Lee. I think he'll put out a lot of volume, and let's see if he can get that finish. I mean, Leal's coming in here with a lot of experience himself. He's no slouch, but I think he's really going to struggle with that little bit of a length advantage because I think Fakhardinov lives there. I think he's a tad bit longer than his arms are, and I think being welterweight is perfect for that. Standing at that frame, and I think he has a big advantage here. I mean, I like Fakhardinov. There's no way I'm not picking him for the official picks. Like I said, it could be really close again. Leo might put up a nice fight like Dalby, maybe not split decision, but, just fight him tough, doesn't get finished. I don't really expect that too much. Leo's only, never been finished, only decision losses, so I can see something like that happening again. Could be pretty spicy. Fakardinov, like I said, could get somebody out there. He's going to have to land one of them perfect punches, though, it seems like, because he's not really going to do it. And he hasn't seemed to really put out the volume of output at a veracity and intensity, because I don't think he wants to gas out. I think he's very kind of strategic with how he fights. I think he's there just to beat guys up in a way. I think he's a tough guy. But Fakardinov, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Boom! Moving on. Middleweight division. Ismail Nurmagomedov versus Bruno Silva. Ismail, 19-4 from Morocco, standing 6 foot. Against Bruno Silva, 23-11, standing at 6 foot. This is a middleweight bout. Nope, it's actually 185 here. And I mean, Bruno Silva, what do you want to say? 35 years old, 20 knockout wins, 7 sub losses, 4-5 losses last 3, lost 5 of 6. How can you pick Bruno Silva here? You're hoping for the best for him. I mean, the books got it pretty close, too, I believe. Only plus 130. Nurmagomedov, I think, is going to put Bruno's lights out. I think the last fight I remember, him and, what's his name? I mean, I know he got poked in the eye and then finished. The Weidman should have been a no contest. I just don't think his chin is there. I think he gets hit once, he stumbles. It's just going to be hard for him to win the fight. I like Ismail here to really just win 2 rounds, to really do a lot of damage at some point and potentially get a finish. Middleweight bout, I mean, we know Bruno's going to go out on his shield. He's not going to not try, not going to stand in there. And like I said, I think he could come in hot off his loss, but maybe he gasses himself early in the second round, gets caught, and just can't recover. I mean, you really know he doesn't have a ground game like you might think he does, right? So I like Ismail here to really control the fight. I think he'll do the damage. I think he'll be in and out and even present. He's got a guillotine choke in his last fight, so if he's not ready for something, Bruno could just walk right into something. I like Nurmagomedov most likely by finish. I think we could see a few early here. I think we'll see a few decisions as well, but I think we'll see a lot of control fights. I feel very good about the prospecting we've done on the card. I'm not saying, like, I don't think Bruno Silva can win the fight. I think any fighter on any day can win the fight. Dude, it's going to be crazy. We got so many guys with donuts. How many churros are going to happen? Max Holloway is going to say. What's really going to happen here on this card? It's absolutely starting 2 p.m. Eastern is the main card. I think we're starting at noon on this undercard, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go Ismail here. I just think Bruno how can you pick somebody that's not in form? I don't care what you're going against. I mean, he's going halfway across the world. He's just, I don't know. I can't take him. I can't take Silva. Let's go Ismail. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. For the bantamweight division, Farid Basharat 12 and Donut 5'8", 135, 71-inch reach versus Victor Hugo 25-4, 5'7", 71.5-inch reach. And boy, oh boy, I really love this matchup. The Basharat boys, they've been on a run. Huge pick for Basharat. Heavy wrestling style in the native land, trains out of Las Vegas. Versus Hugo, striker, mixed martial artist, has submissions on his record. Man, all right, so first off, with Farid Basharat, don't get his brother Havid mixed up with him. So Havid take a loss, but I don't think for his style it really fit well to go against these elite level strikers. If he's not being able to get Hugo on the ground and dominate him, Hugo's been in a lot of fights, man. He's on a hell of a run himself. And I think he can put a lot of potential onto a lot of hurt on Basharat, man. I think if he can keep him down, right? If Basharat, I don't know if his striking's as clean as Hugo's. He really hasn't done it in the UFC. Wins against Blackshear, Lapulus, decisions, getting to the card. Most likely dominating with grappling. Is he going to be able to do that with Hugo? That's the X factor in all these fights, right? Is the grappler going to be able to be a supreme grappler against a guy that can defend and strike well? Because if Hugo could defend and get up and Basharat can't keep him down, Hugo has a clear advantage in the striking department. So that being said, it's just like I'm kind of leaning towards Hugo here. I mean, minus 600. I feel like these Basharat guys have always just been these huge freaking odds, and the fights are way closer than their odds are. They're not finishing guys, right? They're not really even threatening these higher level fighters that I think somebody like Hugo can even present himself as for a length of time in this fight, if not potentially win. I'm kind of leaning Hugo here. I'm trying to figure out how I can take myself to take Basharat just because he's minus 600 and I don't want to take the L on my record. But I'm not really afraid to go out there on the limb here. I mean, I kind of am fading him because of his brother. Last time went up against a stellar striker. I mean, I literally think they might be in the same division, both bantamweights. And I could see him going down again. I could see him just not fighting well. I could see him getting beat up, and I can see him getting handled. I like Hugo here by split decision. I think it would. I think it can go 29-28, very close fight, and I think I'm gonna go official monster upset here. I'm not gonna be afraid to take Victor Hugo. Could look dumb. Could look, if he gets subbed out in the first round, but I think Hugo's got a little bit more to offer Basharat. I think the 4 years of experience too, like. These young guys in promotions, the young guys with these undefeated records have been taking L's recently. I'm not afraid to go out on the limb here. I'm going to go take Victor Hugo, monster upset early in the card against a massive favorite. He's plus 400, plus 500 against Basharat, minus 600. But I just think the style is very poor for Basharat. I think Hugo's going to strike. He's going to have good distance, speed, control. These guys are so athletic in this bantamweight division. Right, like once you get to that 5'7", 8 frame, like you can do different things that guys that are 6 foot might not be able to do with as much, electricity and spring. And I think Hugo presents that, and I think he'll be able to bounce. I think he'll be able to defend. Could catch Basharat in a guillotine choke, like tire him out in the first round, get up in the second round, start striking, and just be done from there, right? Like if they get sweaty in the second round, he gets in a decent position, holds him out, and they can really turn it on. That's where I'm expecting Hugo to really kind of win this fight. I'm also kind of picking him because I really just don't trust Basharat like that. You got to be getting finishes to be minus 600 favorites, in my opinions. Like you got to be rarely going to the scorecard, and I just don't like picking against somebody like that because if somebody can compete, they're not as minus 600 as they once were, right? So puts them at 2-3 in my odds making, the odds of somebody like that. Oh, okay, well, and actually, with the contrary of what I've seen in the fight game in my year of doing this, is Hugo has a decent chance to win at those odds. So I think he presents an opportunity, pathway to victory. I got Victor Hugo, monster upset here. Monster upset, picking Victor Hugo. We'll move on, ladies and gentlemen. My guy Kennedy's in Checkwu, 12-5 versus Chris Barnett. Is Chris Barnett going to show up? We got a lot of guys wondering if they're going to show up this week. Chris Barnett, I think he is. I think he kind of cherry-picked this fight. He balked against somebody last week, Tafa. I think, was it Tafa? I got to go look at this. Let's start with Kennedy. Lost to Ovu St. Prince last time. Yeah, Tafa. He ducked Tafa the other week, and he got replaced by somebody, and he got starched, which I didn't think was a good matchup. I think Zinchenko coming up to heavyweight is a good matchup for Barnett. I don't know. What's left with Chen? Is this his last fight on the contract? Is he going to get finished? Is this the spot that Barnett likes? Zinchenko's rebooked this fight twice. I want to say once against DeLima and once against somebody else. So he's just like, give me Barnett. Barnett's like, give me somebody else. And DeLima and Tafa. So interesting. Justin Tafa. Was it Justin or Junior? He dug Junior last week. So interesting. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I kind of like Barnett here. How can you trust Zinchenko? But, I mean, Barnett's put on some good performances. It's just like, is he going to do it? I'm going to go picking Zinchenko here just out of pure odds of him being just a bigger monster against Barnett and just getting a nice piece of him, getting him to the ground and pound and just ending Barnett. But, I mean, I think Barnett could probably try and wrestle Zinchenko. I'm just going to go with the metrics here. I wanted to pick Barnett. As I look at 6'5" versus 5'9", if I had to fight some guy that's 6'5", I'm probably just going to get caught once on my way in and get put down. But, I mean, I think Kennedy is going to need a win. This is where you expect him to get a win. Not excited about picking him. Definitely not betting him. I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight, but I don't know if I want to trust Barnett. against somebody. Not like I can even trust Nchekwu here, but I know I want to pick Barnett, but I'm just going to pick Kennedy just because I can see him getting a cheeky win. Even if it goes to the scorecard, like Kennedy just like bitching out, standing from range, just throwing kicks and stuff. Like Barnett not able to do much because like I just think Nchekwu is a more well-rounded mixed martial artist. I think Barnett can put a hurting on in a fight against good opposition, but I just don't know if Kennedy's that guy. Gonna go Nchekwu. Not feeling too great about it against Barnett, but again, it's like, do I really trust Barnett? I don't think so. You know, so many rescheduled fights. I mean, again, Nchekwu getting starched, but maybe he comes in a little more fire underneath him, man. I can't imagine he has a good contract. Barnett's 38 as well as Nchekwu's 32. Let's go Kennedy all day. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just move on. Pick Kennedy and move on. Boom! What a matchup here. We're going to the middleweight division, ladies and gents. Abus Magmadev versus Bruno Ferreira. Bro, I butchered these names. I'll go with Abus versus Ferreira. 26-6-1 for Abus coming off a win versus Ferreira, 5'10", coming off a win. And I really like Ferreira. He's got a lot of knockout power. I just don't like him in this matchup. Major reach, height advantage for Abus, and I think he's gonna he's got great kicks. And I think it's gonna present a big problem for Ferreira. It's not a position I want to be in, and not a position I want to pick. Potentially for him to have to go through a bunch of leg kicks, a bunch of front kicks, just to try and do some damage. My win condition for Ferreira here is being against the cage, breaking the clench and hitting him with something nasty. But that being said, like, it's going to be hard for him to get there, and I mean, he's really going to have to plant one right on the chin. I don't like those win conditions. I like a boost here. A lot of leg kicks, a lot of distance control, a very class performance. I think his last two outings, I think, has been very conservative. I think when you take a KO loss as a fighter, you're definitely changed, and it takes you a little bit to get your rhythm back. A loss to Kai Barallo is nothing to be ashamed about. That guy's an absolute gangster. Could be fighting for top contender spots. And I remember him fighting Wally Alvarez, and I mean, he looked good doing it. He could have looked better, but you know, could have looked way worse too. And I think Abus is going to get there. I like his kicks. That front kick up the middle is going to be deadly. I think he's going to control the outside. Again, Ferreira is going to have to do something pretty spectacular for him to you know, he's gonna have to work the body, get the arms down, and really hit a lot of volume. I just don't know if he's gonna be able to get there after 3 rounds. You know, in the course of a fight for Ferreira, that is. You know, he really hasn't been there too many times. All of his fights have been ending by finishes early on, and I just don't know if he gets to there this time. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards Abus and the official Abus, and that's going to be the official pick because while Ferreira can catch him and put his lights out, I mean, that would be lovely to see because I always love when it ends in a finish. I think Abus is really going to control the fight and maybe threaten a finish of his own. Low-key, cheeky, Abus by submission. I think he can get Ferreira in a bad spot, eventually doing so much damage. He has 3 on his record. That's Bruno's got 3 on his record. But I could see something like that, too, where there's like a lot of damage on one side or the other, and the finish comes through submission. 6 for Abus in his career. Should be a bloodbath. I like Abus here. Ferreira's live for a spectacular KO, but I mean, man, oh man, this should be a good one. Should be a good one. What's the -135 plus 114 for Ferreira? Very close fight. Should be exciting. This is why we're turning on the cards. Absolute stacker and cracker, and should be some great technical fighting. And should be some amazing opportunities for knockout power. Bang, this fight's canceled. Saeed's looking for a replacement. Daniel Santos withdrew. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Matthias Rebecki, 19-2, coming off a loss, versus Martak Orablai, 13-1-1, 5'10" from Kazakhstan, versus Rebecki, 19-2, coming off a loss. I believe it was to Diego Ferreira. Beat the hell out of him, bro. Beat the hell out of him. Dude, this is Orablai all day, bro. I mean, how can we think of anything else? Orablai will probably wrestle him, probably just control the position. He's got advantages in the length, reach, and I don't think it's going to be much of a contest. I really think Orablai, he's only 26. I think he has an absolute chance to fucking steamroll this division and fight some absolute contenders. I mean, he made Brenner look like an absolute freaking he put the beat down on Brenner, dude. Destroyed Medic in a fight night. Isn't Medic like a freaking welterweight or something? So, or a Bly, dude. I mean, it might not be as exciting as we wanted it to be, but I can also see him getting a ground and pound. I don't think he's really got he's got some ground strikes, but I think he's probably more on the wrestle into getting Rebecca into a bad position and finishing him with a submission. That's where I'm kind of leaning. He's got 5 on his record, only 6 KOs, and I think Rebecca's primed to get finished here. Or a Bly. He's going to be a gangster, dude. We're going to be like, dude, this guy's going to come in there and, they're going to be talking about Chef Cat getting an official announcement with Bilal at some point, if that's not official. But, I mean, this guy Ora Bly is an absolute freaking monster. I think he's a wagon, and I think he's a train, and I think he's coming through. Choo-choo. Come on down, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 in the UFC, about to be 3-0. I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be a very control fest, a very high damage fest. I just think Rebecca, he's going to have to hit him with the KO power, and good luck catching that bee or a butterfly in the hurricane. So, moving on to the feature prelim. What a feature prelim we got, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Steel Hands Neal. I think it's just Steel Neal. I don't know. Versus Rafael Dos Santos, RDA, 15-5. Red Ponte Knight versus 32-16. Welterweight, RDA went back up. He's been flirting with the lightweight. And, I mean, I like Jeff Neal here. How do you not like Jeff Neal? It's nothing against RDA, but once he goes up, he's a different fighter. 21-14, losses to Gamrot, Luque, Fiziev. He beat Barberena, Moicano, but Jeff Neal, he's been going against them too. Rachmanov and Gary. He's not like he's fighting any slouches. I thought he took more against Gary. I thought he had a better, I mean, it was a split decision. So, I mean, somebody saw that he fought a pretty damn good fight against Gary. But I also think the other two fighters had it 30-27. So that might have been something to take in consideration. But I thought it was more 29-28 than 30-27. Man, I think he can do the job. I think he can put the hurting on Dos Santos, and I'm picking Jeff Neal here. I love RDA. I love what he can do, but I don't love him at welterweight. I don't want him hanging up the gloves in Abu Dhabi. I want him to put on a good performance, but hopefully we go to the judges' scorecards and the highly competitive fight. He's going to have to be looking for some takedowns to get Jeff Neal in some bad positions. But, I mean, Neal's got pretty good ground game. He's pretty strong. He's pretty lengthy. Those arms are not easy to deal with. And I mean, he's got the power, dude. He's got the power to do the damage. And that's what kind of worries me with these long-in-the-tooth Brazilians that are still fighting mixed martial artists with more of that grappling jiu-jitsu background who aren't the elite primetime strikers. It's just like, man, sometimes it's going to be hard to beat these guys that are good at striking, that up in a weight class that you can't dominate physically to take that advantage away from them, right? Like I can see RDA trying to get some cage time, hold down Neal. Like, I think RDA's win condition is Mario Batista versus Jose Aldo. He's got to kind of hold him down, pray to get some takedowns and control the fight and just do zero output from his opponent. I think Jeff Neal will come in there and do a decent amount of damage to win enough rounds and take the dub. I like Jeff Neal here. Hopefully, RDA, what has he got for us left? What's left in the tank, dude? 39 years old. He's fought he's still not afraid to fight the killers, bro. You know what I mean? Not the best performances in his entire career, and I don't think he has another good one here. Jeff Neal for the win, baby. Moving on. Boom! The main event, dude. What a stacked card, ladies and gentlemen. Shaira Bullet Magomedov versus Armin Petrosyan. 14-0 Bullet against Petrosyan. 9'3", coming off a loss. And, wow, first fight on the main card. How do you not like the Bullet here? I mean, Petrosyan, he's going to give you a great effort, but I can see, again, the same thing kind of reminds me with Fakardinov in a way. I think the Bullet kind of lacks that wonderful KO power. I can see this one going to the decision scorecard again. And I think Petrosyan is a tough out here. I think he's really going to have to put it on it. Like, I think if Petrosyan comes in here and gets some takedowns, he could present a great problem. I don't really know how much that is in his game, but I mean, if he studied some film and gives this some research and doesn't just go in there and strike with this guy, I think he's got a great chance to get a win. I'm picking the Shaira Bullet just because I'm not going to pick the wagon going through the freaking Abu Dhabi against the guy who they all love. threatening with a, fighting contract, undefeated record. I think this is where, I think the donut train goes on. I think we start off with a couple donut wins here, but maybe end with a few. I don't know what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. How many of these undefeated fighters are going to keep their undefeated record? Is the bullet, I think, going to start it off? I could definitely see split decision here, very close fight, being like, dude, we think Petrosian wins. And you never know, man. It's the fight game. But I like Bullet. I mean, my thing is if Petrosian comes in there and starts taking him down and controls the fight, like, he's going to have to be able to get up. Like, what does Petrosian have in the gas tank? Like, maybe he does it early, and then fades late is what I can kind of see happening, too. Takes him down in the first round, controls him. Nothing out there. Close second round, and then maybe Magmadov, the bullet, comes out hard in the third round. Threatens finish, but really wins. Possibly 10-8ers to make it decisive. Something like that. But I like Petrosian early here. I don't think it's as big as, for Jeff Neal being a minus 300 favor, they only got the bullet at minus 166. So they think highly of Petrosian here. And I do as well. I think he has a great chance to win the first round, and I think he's got a great chance to kind of dominate the fight and really get some boo birds out. Get some guys not liking what they're seeing, and just because we like a guy and we like his talent doesn't mean it's a good matchup for a fighter. And if he gets taken down and can't get back up, sometimes that is the fight. Is that what's going to happen here? I don't know. Is the donut train coming through, or is the churro wagon moving on? I'm going to go with the bullet here to win. Just think the judges will have his favor. I think he'll be able to win some striking advantages at some point in the round, do enough damage where that's where the judges are going to lean his way. But Petrosian, dog. Big dog. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Light heavyweight division. Magmadev Ankalaev, 19-1-1, number one contender versus Alexander Rakic, 14-4. Man, oh man, dude, this should be in fireworks. I mean, how do you not love Ankalaev by KO here? He's been putting everybody out. I mean, this is probably one of his tougher fighters, Rakic, but I mean, how does Rakic go from putting Yuri on the ground to getting knocked out in the second round? I don't get that. I don't know what happened there. I feel like at UFC 300, I don't know. That was one of the most bizarre things that I'm like, dude, no way Yuri's coming back and win this, and then he gets it. Leg injury to Blachowicz. I mean, no big wins for Rakic on his record, and you really think he's going to get a big win against somebody like Ankalaev, who's an absolute, he's a steamroller, dude. Comes in there and just absolutely does damage, just hurts people, and I mean, it's been a while since Rakic got a win that you're pretty impressed with, and he's not finishing nobody. Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Jimmy Moana, head kick KO. Like, I mean, that's freaking 5 years ago. Ankalaev all day, bro. Short and sweet. Might not make fucking 3 minutes. Sorry for the language there. Bleep it out, editor. That I don't have. We go live and never cut anything. Ankalaev, short and sweet, baby. Boom! Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the featherweight division. Leroy Murphy, 14-0-1, coming off a win against Barbosa. Dan, 50K, Ige, 18-8, coming off a win against, or a loss against Diego Lopes, coming in there against Ortega on the short night. Man, what's gonna happen here? I mean, Murphy's got the pace. Murphy's got the output. He's got the length. He's got like that edge in like prospect. He's got that clean striking. He kind of, I don't want to like point similarities just because he's a Brit as well, but he kind of seems on a hot trajectory, like Leon Edwards, where he's just going to kind of beat guys that he goes through, even if it's very close. Like, I can see Ige catching Murphy late in the third round, doing a lot of damage, winning split decision, 29-28 Murphy, and it being really close. I mean, Ige's probably got to get him out there with a KO, which I absolutely think he does, dude. Any advantage height, width, height and length department, I think it's cut out with Ige's ability to just go in there and throw hands. I don't think Murphy's going to take him down, which I think is a big proponent of what could hurt Ige in the long haul. I mean, he can do a lot of damage, right? Ige's one punch away from knocking Murphy out at all times in this fight. And I think we kind of see that here at the end of the this finish ability in these final three fights. I was initially picking Ige, and then I went to keep Murphy with the donut train to start with him. And as we're breaking it down, I really think Murphy does have an advantage in winning the fight and keeping his undefeated record. Part of me just wants to pick Dan Ige because I think he can absolutely go in there and be more polished, doesn't feel the pressure that Murphy might feel, and take it home. Going with the official Dan Ige pick here, I think kind of the pressure of the moment could lead to Murphy not getting the most of his ability. He dominated Barbosa, but Barbosa is not Dan Ige. 33 versus 38 with a beat up chin. He's went to war on something with a little bit of time to prepare. I think there's some potential for Murphy to just not be spectacular, right? I think Ige is one of the better fighters he's ever fought, and I think that undefeated record really gets challenged. Now, I don't think it was as challenged as I thought it was going to be in that Barbosa fight. Like, I kind of got Barbosa against Youssef, and then Murphy's a step up against them. But I think as a challenger, Dan Ige is he's a game challenger to take. At plus 210, I love him. I love the guys that you love here. In these guys, take him solo. All of them got a chance to win. They all could win together, but I like Dan Ige here. Take the donut train. Take the donut train off, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, the co-main event, Robert the Reaper Whittaker, 27-7, coming off monster win against Askarov versus Khamzat the Wolf Chimaev. Is he going to make weight? Is he going to show up? What's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen? Is the donut train stopping again? Or are we getting the churros, dude? I like Whittaker here. I think Chimaev has to get him out in the first 4 minutes of the fight. If Whittaker can survive in advance in a 5-round fight, I think he's going to win. But I think Khamzat has that first-round ability that he's going to make anybody in the first 2 minutes be on their ass in a bad spot, and you have to survive. Because I think he's going to gas out early. I think with the weight cut and him having to, who knows what his health is like, there's no way I'm going to pick Chimaev here. I like Whittaker. I think he's honestly one of the freaking 3 best middleweights in the world, right? Duplessis, Strickland, and Whittaker. I think it's 1, 2, 3 at the moment. In any order. I think anybody of them can beat any of them at the same time, right? I think if Whittaker fought Strickland, he could win. Strickler can beat Duplessis, and Duplessis can beat, Whittaker. Chimaev, like I said, he's going to win the first round. Is he going to win this? He's going to get him taken down in the second round. But as the third, fourth, and fifth goes on, I feel like even these guys, some of them are going to wither, man. He's never been in one of those fights. He's only been in some, not even controversial, some close decision wins against Burns and Usman. And if they fought 5 rounds, arguably could have went to the other guy. I think being a 5-round fight, Whittaker's got this. That's the official pick. Whittaker's got to have this because I think he wins 3, 4, and 5 after Khamzat just takes him down. I think it could be very close, and I think you'll just see it just might be tough for him. He even his other win that he beat a homie, he was 7 pounds over when they had to readjust the Nate Diaz card, right? He fought Usman at middleweight. He's a welterweight. Whittaker's a true middleweight. I don't think it's very close here. And as freaking Whittaker at plus 210, man, I really, like you said, he's just got to survive the onslaught early on. Khamzat is the best 4-minute fighter in the entire UFC. I will stand by that, too. But once that tank gets drained, once the exchanges get even, I think he just struggles against the killer. What's been on his mind? I think Whittaker's only training to win that championship, to be the baddest motherfucker. I think Chimaev has had health issues. He's had freaking the crypto debacle, whatever has been happening with his personal life. It's just not good. It's not settled, and it's not something I'm going to pick here. The Reaper all day, baby. And he's going to fight the winner because they're in Robert next freaking April, May for the belt. Let's go, baby. Come on! And moving on to the main event, dude. In my opinion, the super fight of the UFC right now. Ilya El Matador Topuria versus Max Blessed Holloway. 15-0 against 26-7. Featherweight champion coming off the KO win against Volkanovski. Max Holloway coming against the KO win against Gaethje, the BMF champ. Man, oh man. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I think I'm picking Topuria just to spoil it early on. Just to hedge the happiness. I need Holloway to win. And if he doesn't, then I'll be pretty sad because, I don't want Topuria knocking another one of my favorite fighters out. And I just love the train that Holloway's on, so I don't want to pick him and jinx him. So that's why I'm picking Topuria here. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it's going to be once the exchanges get even. I think about this, right? Again, it's the Topuria's got the chance to knock him out at any point in the fight with that one punch KO, man. You just look at the way Topuria folds fighters and it's always on the table. 45-pound weight cut. Max hasn't done in over a year. Could be a little different, carrying that weight for a decent amount of time and not switching it up. But Max is a professional. He's been fighting for freaking 20 years in the UFC, it feels like, and I'm not too worried about it. Topuria, this is definitely the best fighter in the best form he'll ever face, and he's at a height disadvantage there. The reach is similar, and I think that's something that could get Max in trouble. Think the length being the same on the arms, Topuria having those longer arms and able to get in there and use them to come over, where Max is having to be at his height. I think that's the potential for Topuria. He gets in there and uses the length of his arms to get over the top of him throwing and get the KO. Does damage. My thing with the Topuria against Volkanovski fight is, man, it came quick. I mean, I thought Volk was looking relatively respectful through 9 minutes. That fight lasted about 9 minutes, right? It was about, and it was one flurry in exchanges that knocked him out. Honestly, on a compromised chin, you could say, but man, that thing was right on the chin. Anybody's going out when it's put on the chin like that. And Topuria finds a way to do it, man. If he does it again, he could be the biggest star. Bro, he's pointing to the ground and knocking him out in 13 seconds, 15 seconds from absolutely blowing up, dude. I hate saying that, and I'm not picking that. I don't think it's going to happen. I really do think Max is going to put an absolute championship performance in and win the belt. That's what I want. That's what I'm rooting for. That's what I believe as a fan. But somebody that's picking, predicting, and trying to preview what's going to happen, that Topuria KO has got to be so live, and that's what I'm kind of picking here, just to hedge on my happiness, because I did that last time. I think I actually picked Volkanovski, but ended up with a bet on Topuria. I don't even really remember. I'll have to go check the video. It's from February. But, man, oh, man, I really do think Topuria gets the job done again, just because I think he's throws an absolute monster, man. And not saying Max isn't, but dude just has a way of finding the chin and doesn't have to KO Max, but if he gets him to the ground, locks in the rear naked choke, and it's just finished, dude. Like, hits him on the chin, gets him to the ground, kind of Duplessis, Izzy style. I think that's a win condition for Topuria as well, which I don't think Max has. Oh, I don't want to pick Topuria, man, but I have to. I have to hedge this fight. I mean, I'm kind of going out on a limb on some of the others. This one is all happiness. I really think Max puts in a class world championship performance, but did we see peak Max against Gaethje? It might be a maybe. Have we seen peak Topuria? I don't know if we know. As much as a KO win against a slumped Volkanovski might be impressive, I mean, dude, he could put another one on his resume. But, dude, I love Max Holloway. I want him to win. I'll be rooting for him to win, and I hope he wins, but I'm going to just pick Topuria for the official record just to kind of hedge that, because I'm just worried about him at some point getting in there and putting in a 5th-round finish. It could happen. It's happened before. Sometimes those championship rounds are really won and lost, man. Been a few times, I think of Poetan, Yuri Glover, Chael, Spider Silva, you know what I mean? There's always opportunities. Even Islam Dustin, 5th-round finish from the champ, kind of gets it done, right? Like, think about it like that. That's how I kind of think about this fight. I think about, like, kind of late round finish. You could be winning 4-0 against Topuria, right? But if he gets you on the chin and subs you out, doesn't matter what the judges say. It's a fight. I got Topuria here. We're going to do a little recap, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit longer video. Kurt Correa with a win. Fakardinov. Nurmagomedov. Diev. We're going Victor Hugo, big upset. Kennedy's in Cheku. Abus Magmadov, canceled bout. Orablai, Jeff Neal, Shara Bullet, Ankalaev, Dan Ige, Robert Whitaker, and Ilya Topuria. Like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoy the comment, if you enjoy the video, if you're still here, comment 100 your winners in the comment section. Win $100 if they all hit. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love, everybody.